in a world in which fossil fuels had never been discovered, and instead solar power was the primary means of energy for everything in the globe. Everything that runs on fossil fuels instead running from the sun. Well, there's this man, Frank Schumann, who was born in the late 1800s, who had that very idea. And he took this idea and brought it to Egypt. And he focused solar rays using these massive parabolic panels. And he focused the sun's rays down on this tiny little black box, which in turn boiled water, which was held inside of it, and spun a turbine, which then powered this steam-driven pump. And this thing pumped 60 gallons of water a second through it, 6,000 gallons a minute to an agricultural farm not far from the Nile River. And every day this thing was fed water, every day. And he imagined, what if he could take that and apply it across the entire Sahara Desert? All this countless energy that's been untapped for years and years and years. And he claimed that the Sahara Desert absorbed more energy every day than the entire human civilization has used in its existence. And he never really got to see his thoughts come to fruition because of the start of the First World War and the discovery of oil. And he was pushed to the back pages of history up until recently. And now there's this German company. It's founded by 12 different companies out of Germany, and they've coined themselves Desert Tech. And they have come up with this $500 billion investment idea that covers a very similar design to Frank's. There's parabolic solar panels that boil water inside of them, which in turn turn a steam turbine, very similar to Schumann's original idea, just much more high tech. And this thing would include a power grid that would have maybe at maximum 10% energy lost traveling from the Sahara to Europe. And this thing could potentially supply 50% of Europe's energy supply, the entire continent of Europe, everyone there, half of the energy. That's €1,000 a person a year to fund this massive project. The only downsides is, well, getting an investor to invest in a project that expensive, that lucrative, in an unsafe environment where there's an unstable government and you may or may not see your money returned to you. You know, it's free energy, so it's really not a whole lot of money in a Save the World project. But the only true downside is the amount of water it takes to clean these panels, because every day that it goes uncleaned, they lose between 2 and 4% of their production capacity. So within a month and a half, these things will cease to function simply because of all the dirt and the dust and the grime that's constantly floating around the Sahara. And there are no methods other than cleaning it with demineralized water every day, consuming about 10,000 gallons of water. They're researching some dry cleaning methods, but currently none of them are even close to being viable. But I mean, just imagine the world. You know, think for a minute. All the global economy, all the trains, the freight trains, and the cargo ships that are pumping and churning endlessly around the globe. What happens when the fossil fuel runs out? What happens to those unseen backbones to our economy when there's nothing left to turn their engines? Everything falls apart. So we need to focus now on solar panels and many, many others, wind turbines, geothermal energy, some form of renewable energy, and understand, you know, from the capitalist perspective, what's the purpose of, you know, you can't tax solar energy, you can't tax sunlight or the wind or an ocean current, you can't put a price tag on that. So why then would I want to sell somebody a product that is going to use that where I will have no return upon that? It's easy to see from a capitalist perspective. But maybe one day, you know, people like Nikola Tesla, whose unlimited energy machines could have revolutionized the time period. But again, same thing, money. It's always been about the money in the capitalist economy. If just for, you know, a few years, people would instead focus on moving the human race forward, progressing our combined technology, maybe we could save ourselves. But it will be a very interesting rest of the century. Thank you.